So we'll take a few minutes to get ready with the other network, because there are some our students waiting, and we have to get connected with them, and then we're ready to start our session. Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. Do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes to clarify ourselves how this meditation practice can help for us to cultivate our inner awareness. So when it comes to our human life, the most highest success that you can achieve is your inner awareness. Developing, cultivating your inner awareness. So if you don't have that, it doesn't matter whatever the material things you gain, whatever the success that you have with this physical world, and it's not going to give a benefit for you. So then, in this human life, the highest happiness that you can experience through the awareness, go towards that. We have to do certain things. That practice we call our spiritual practice. So what is this spiritual practice? What we need to do when it comes to spiritual practice? So today we're going to take few minutes to understand that. Why? Because that understanding will help you to clarify yourself. What is this practice? So when it comes to our life, there are three stages One is material life. In the Greek time, it called woodens, woodens, because most of the material things, they develop out of the woods. So that's why I mention it as a woodens. Another one is psychological. Another one is a spiritual. So those are the three stages. This is what very important that you have to understand. That you will never get the real wisdom. So that real wisdom means related to the Dhamma or related to the nature. You will never get it out of any kind of objective knowledge. You can't get it. So once you have that, then it give a kind of like a sign, it give a kind of like a light, it give a kind of like a very tiny pinch to ourselves to think something. So that's mean what we experience as in this material world is not what we look. Even though it brings us certain facilities, our end is not going to be with this material. Another one is psychological. The psychological, so the mind, the thoughts, that also related to cankers. Very kind of like a historical mud inside us. Mental formations. So using that mental formations also, you cannot get into spiritual, that the bottom level of experience. So then now you are too close to what is the spirituality. Now you know using the materials, you can't get it. So then you have to drop it. And using the psychological experience, that's mean the mind, then you have to drop that also. If you able to drop this both, you going to experience something. So then that experience is not belong to material, that experience not belong to thoughts or the ideas. How we can understand this? So it like this. Look at the sky. So the sky is empty. But even though sky is empty, this sky holds this entire universe. But that doesn't mean the sky is bound to any kind of shape or the form or any kind of material or any kind of permanent existence. So then, your mind also has that kind of capacity in you. You didn't experience it. You didn't know that. It kind of like a hidden treasure. So that's why in the ancient time, they mentioned that to get into your spiritual life, to develop your spirituality, you get out of things. And all the ascetic practice used to came, all the yogic that practice used to came out of that theory. And there are many examples. And it's kind of like sculpture. When you have the piece of rock, and out of that rock you can make a very beautiful statue. So how you can do it? Not put something to inside it, but you take out all the unnecessary parts. So when you take out all the unnecessary parts, the sculpture going to develop something inside that. And at the same time, in Buddhism, there is an analogy called raft. When you want to cross a river, you use a craft. So, but once you cross the craft and you don't carry it, so it's kind of like there is something you use, but you're not bound to it. There is something that you get help, but you not hold it to it. So what is that you have to take out from you then? You have to take out this all the material world and the psychological world. So when you're able to take out that both, then what happened? There is a true existence going to be there in you. In the East, in the ancient time, in the yogic tradition, this called them, it related to the tranquility state, not the nirvana yet. Tranquility state, it called nirvikalpa samadhi, non-conceptual knowledge or the state. Nir means none. Vikalpa means conceptual. So non-conceptual knowledge. So that all these ideas, thoughts, measurements, this everything come out of from the material world and at the same time from our psychological experience, collective cognition. So if you are able to get out of this both, still there is something you experience. So through the tranquility meditation, we're going to experience that. And once it comes to that pure level of awareness, that pure level of experience within yourself, you are more close to understand the very nature of it. So to do that, in the very first level, you have to get a mental object. Suddenly you can't get out of this both because we have a history related to mental and the material and psychological world. So suddenly by closing your eyes, you can't shut it down. You have to go by step by step, step by step, step by step. So you observe your own inhalation, exhalation. You're not bound to anything. And the only thing is you experience the moment of happening. But at the same time, you should not demand or command yourself, thinking or believing you are practicing meditation. Because then your subconscious mind looking for something. When the subconscious mind interferes with looking for something, On the surface level, your consciousness, even though work with the inhalation, exhalation, by the time you get tired, you're not going to get any kind of peace, tranquility state. You're not going to experience some kind of comfort in you. So that's why it says, don't even have an attachment to meditation. So it's kind of like the raft that you cross the river and you leave it there. So like when you observe inhalation, exhalation, you sit, you have to get out of the idea of I practice meditation. You have to get out of that self-centered mind and allow things to happen itself. Just imagine when that each and everything happen according to itself. Just be limited to your body. Forget about the outside world. Just be limited to your body. Each and every cell start to work according to its own behavior, nature, rhythm. What will happen? This entire body start to follow the rhythm of nature. In that very moment, as a result of that, what you experience, that consciousness, that recognition is totally different. But when your subconscious mind interfering with the kind of like a intention or the ideas or the desire, and your mind cannot experience it, when the mind cannot experience it, your heart, lungs, liver, your entire nerve system cannot become free. Why? Because your mind stimulated by its own desires. That is how the mind get more thrill, get high through the desires. So when the meditation becomes the desire, still you are in this very surface level of the ordinary life. But you have to get out of that. So once you get out of that, you slowly, little by little, experience something. So that experience, now remember, you are not related to the material world, you are not related to the psychological world, and now your entire body itself happening, and in that very level, your awareness start to reach to certain level of rhythm and vibration and get connected to its own recognition. That we call as jnana. In the ancient time, in the Greek, it called agnosia. So the agnosia is a kind of like another way it called dark knowledge. Why it called dark knowledge? Dark unknown. Why it called that? Because these material things you can see. And your subconscious mind, your all the psychological things, even though it is not material, is still that you can kind of like experience. People live with it. But this dark knowledge, it's kind of like the same idea, kind of like a dark matters. You know, people talk about nowadays beyond the atoms, there is something, this dark matters. It's so powerful than this everything. So like that, why it called dark knowledge? Because there is something still that you can experience, which You can't get out of the material or by thinking or by object related knowledge. That is where we keep going. So it's kind of like then, it's you were looking for a black hole, in this entire universe, keep, traveling. But still, the very beauty of it, the art of it, you should not bound to this body. You should not bound to this sitting. You should not bound to even to the technique. But still, you with it, without holding it, without naming it, without grasping it. So when you're able to come to that point, by the time, you little by little, little by little, you get into that depth. So that is where we keep going. And when it comes to that, what happened to you? Even how about that? What kind of experience going to happen to you? So it like this. In Zen meditation, it give a kind of like an example for that. You cannot hammer a nail to the sky. Always you need an object. So like that, once you get out of the object, the material world, and this once you get out of the psychological world, there is no clinging nature in you. Even though you see things, hear things, smell things, taste things, feel things, it kind of like you're trying to hammering a nail to the sky. There's nothing it's going to hold. So then yourself, moment by moment, let it experience by yourself. Because you are the only one can do it. There is no one else can do. So then you have some self-responsibility to keep work on it. And at the same time, don't get used to, don't attach to, don't kind of like be like to, don't have any kind of desire-based practice. Even when you listen to any kind of Dhamma talks, or if you listen to any talks, if you can do like that way, you desire less listening, you get something out of it. Right? Because if you have even if you have an intention or the desire, I want to get it, I want to get something, you lose the main idea of the talk. So then still you're listening, but moment by moment, you become desireless. Why you have to be desireless? Remember, as I mentioned, your mind is stimulated by desires. So in the very first level, in the tranquility state, what happens? Your mind becomes free from that, the stimulated nature. Then it becomes natural, normal. So once it have that natural state, it start to recognize the nature itself. So before we go to see the impermanent nature, in the very first level, you have to get your mind to this level. So that means natural level. So that means you get out of the material world, you get out of the psychological world. Let that things to be itself. let the mind to be free from the past experience or the future desires. That doesn't mean it get out of the recognition. In this very moment, to experience right now, right here, to be like this, experience this moment for you, you no need any kind of the past experience. You no need any kind of any future desires. But that is where you become complete. That completion brings you some kind of recognition to yourself. Rather than hold it to that, rather than be with that, we believe deeply, oh, without past experience, oh, without future desires, we can't do this. That's why when you have a deeper, more strong desire to attain to enlightenment, you miss it. So it's like this. In the Western world, there is an example for this spiritual practice. It like sometimes you take a piece of rock to knock the door. And when the door opens, you throw the rock, that piece of rock, outside and enter to the house with empty hand. You don't take the rock. So the meditation, the moment by moment practice the same. You use the inhalation, exhalation, you use the recognition, but you should not take it as memory. You should not take it as a moment that the collective experience. So it's about me, but in day-to-day life also, if you can be like that way, any moment going to be bliss for yourself. So once you have that experience, before the Buddha, the many enlightened masters, many yogis used to achieve to that level. And then they just keep experiencing and being that state, believing that is the end. So, but what the Buddha said is, even though we reach to that level of experience, even though it brings us a high mental powers, even though for the moment you feel it kind of like the end, that also bears with our awareness and consciousness and consciousness-based recognition. So then, through the analytical meditation or the vipassana meditation or the insight meditation, brought a brand new method to challenge that non-conceptual experience or the samadhi, and recognize itself that whatever we experience for the moment, even it is not belong to the material world or even not belong to the psychological world, the experiencer itself also impermanent. That was a huge breaking news. That's why everybody came around the Buddha. And it's like a breaking news go, you put every channel, start to go like, red circle, it's a breaking channel news, or kind of like, because people used to worship, people used to practice, people used to hold it to that tranquility state. Even though it's called another way, dark knowledge, agnosia. And beyond this psychological, beyond this physical world, the depth of the nature, what we experience also, not permanent. And then everybody start to question, why is that? How it is going to be impermanent like that way? It was not like, oh, Buddha said just, oh, accept it. No, there were huge arguments. People came and questioned. And there were many the conversations. And out of that, people understood this. People got into that. So what is the reason and how it become like that way? Impermanent, because it's like you breaking down things to parts. Buddha beautifully explained. And even yourself, you can experience anything once you take out parts. That whatever you experience as whole, as one, not going to be there anymore. So your computer here like this, or your cell phone, your iPad, you experience as a one. So that's why you can see this. That's why you can hear this. So how about once it take parts, that what you experience in this very moment, what will happen to it? It's going to disappear. So same like your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, this everything come together. And this all, everything in this physical body happen because of the very nature of four elements: heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. That is the bottom line. There are many other things: the nature, the food, environment, so all other material things. So there are a lot of, but the final breakdown is the bottom level is heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. There is nothing exists out of these four elements. And then the very nature of these four elements, it also changes moment by moment. So this is the final decision. There is no way, if out of the changeable elements, there is nothing can come permanent things. If the bottom level of fundamental elements are impermanent, and out of that impermanent elements, there is nothing can create something going to be permanent. So then once you come to that understanding, in the very basic level, that what you understand as impermanent, not valid anymore. It's going to be more deeper. So that deeper understanding coming from beyond the psychological, beyond the material knowledge. But the thing for us nowadays, what we have this that the knowledge about the impermanent, is mostly based with the objective knowledge. Why? Because, oh, this breakdown, and then because of that it is impermanent. That good to understand or something. It's give a kind of like a, the show us the way to go. But this deeper understanding, when it come through your inner observation and the experience, anymore your psychological or the material world cannot dominate your existence. So even though material world experience, even though psychological world you experience, you are not going to be with it, or you are not going to bound to that. That is where deeply you are becoming not going to happen anymore. That is where your liberation, your transformation going to happen. So then with this practice, in the very first level, little by little, let everything to settle down. Don't hold it to anything. So you get out of the past, you get out of the future desires, and just be with the moment. And then by the moment, and you go with the step by step, following your inhalation, exhalation, even without bounding to that own practice, thinking I practice meditation. And by the time you will reach to a moment to experience something not belong to words. When you come to that experience, from there, you can get a very clear view regarding what is the meaning of change. So let's get into practice a little bit. Your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line. And be comfortable with your posture. And scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say, Swapat Peva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times in the beginning, and recognize the sensation in front of your nose, so your upper lip area. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And when it happens, through the sensation, not by visualizing, dreaming, thinking about it, or verbalizing, just by sensation, recognize it. Inhalation as inhalation, exhalations as exhalations. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downwards. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Also may all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavatacha sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Maya Dhamma Nudhamma Patipattiya Buddhang Pujemi Dhammang Pujemi Sanghang Pujemi Attaya Imaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadhi Maranam Ha Paribunjisami Idamme Punya Kammang Asavakkaya Vahang Hotu Sabba Dukkha Pamuncatu. Bless you.